All right, well, thank you everyone for being here and attending. I really, really appreciate it. My name is Jessica Dandridge. I am the Water Collaborative Executive Director. I'm a local girl born and raised here. I'm very happy and excited to be a part of this process. This is an amazing partnership. As you can see at the top, there are a lot of partners who are participating in this amazing program. If you are here today, this is regarding the lead service line abatement program. As you all know, Infrastructure Jobs Act had provided funding for lead service and abatement. So we're so excited to be partnering with Google.com, We Act, BlueConduit, as well as the National Resource Defense Council nationally, and our local partners on the ground, including Total Community Action, Civic Studios. We have Aaron Chang here to talk more about that in the future. So I don't want to belabor the point. There's so many great things that we're going to hear about today. I'm going to hand it off to Sewerage and Water Board, who is our primary partner on this. They've been wonderful. Tyler, would you like to introduce yourself and talk about your work in this project?
Sure. Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, my name is Tyler Anthrop. I'm the Director of Planning and Strategy here at the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans. And we are proud to take this proactive step in partnering with BlueConduit and community to meet our regulatory requirements ahead of schedule and at no additional cost to our ratepayers, thanks to the generous support of Google.org. Developing our inventory is really only the first step, and we're thrilled to work with TCA, the Water Collaborative, and Civic Studio to engage our residents in conversation about how to deliver the most equitable program to remove lead from our system forever. We look forward to the many conversations we'll be having over the coming year to bring our customers to a concise solution to replacing all of the lead service lines in our community. And at this time, I'm happy to turn it over to Sheila from BlueConduit.
Thank you, Tyler, and good morning, everybody. My name is Sheila Lal, and I'm here to speak about mapping lead service line data. So originally we had a set of images that I could share, but we're unable to do that right now on this call, but I'll talk through it instead. BlueConduit, which builds machine learning software to support efficient lead service line removal, was part of this convening coalition to provide resources to the Water Collaborative, Civic Studio, and the Sewerage and Water Board of New Orleans as they build on their community-centered lead service line replacement plan. Part of our contribution to this effort is through the development of mapping tools, which is informed by best practices in public health communication to support SWBNO's public engagement efforts. While this map will support EPA compliance for a publicly accessible inventory, simply complying with the lead and copper rule is not enough. The lead has to be useful to the user. Effective mapping can restore trust between the map maker and the map user. That's why we're also on this call, is not just our work with SWBNO, but how this map can help inform the work that the Water Collaborative and Civic Studio are doing on the ground. 9 months ago, BlueConduit established a relationship with SWBNO and developed the project plan. The first step, digitizing all of SWBNO's analog data. SWBNO will be finished with this critical step soon, and we look forward to adjusting the information and providing important parcel level predictions to inform equitable communication and replacement plans. In line with how we value truthful communication, we chose to avoid talking about a placeholder map to minimize any confusion. Instead, I want to talk a little bit about how our work in Flint, Michigan, and Toledo, Ohio inform the way that we're going to build our map with SWBNO, the Water Collective, and the Civic Studio. So I can't show it to you here, but if you go to the flintpipemap.com, that is our first introduction to the world of public health communications in a visual medium. And it was our first BlueConduit Inform map designed specifically for and by the community that we serve. You're able to look at the map, scroll in and out, look from a citywide view to a detailed view, and you can see where the last remnants of lead service lines exist in the city. On the map, you can also zoom into a neighborhood view and even the parcel view. The map is designed to provide full information about the current state of the service line, the likely material at addresses where the material has not yet been verified, and what residents can do to get their service line replaced. Other accessibility features to note are options for changing the color scheme for colorblind users and language inclusivity for Spanish speakers. The map is routinely updated with Flint's data, reminding the public that 7 years later, the work to get the lead out is still happening, and that it's also informed by resident engagement. So fast forward a few years, we started working in Toledo, Ohio, and the work that we're showing on the map there is readily available on their website as well. Their map is actually integrated into their city's lead service line project website. So while, yes, the project is newer than our work in Flint, the impact of an accessible detailed map cannot be understated. The map is one of the first things a user sees when they go to the website. And then further along, there's information for residents who may have a lead service line. This type of direct action communication empowers individuals to take care of the real public health risk in their home. The map includes other data like average home age, median income, racial demographics, and housing vacancy rates to illustrate that the conversation around lead exposure is a piece of a larger systemic issue. And there are many benefits to proactively providing mapping services. It's an opportunity to actively respond to resident feedback and develop a two-way communication cadence. Anecdotally, across our project areas, community groups and individual residents positively respond to a high-quality map. And we recognize that a map is only as good as its intent and development. So I want to reinforce that maps must be useful for residents, otherwise the exercise is for naught. Residents deserve to have full information about their parcel, neighborhood, and city so they can best advocate for their health and well-being. With that, I'll end my remarks and turn it over to Jessica to discuss the community hubs.
Thank you for that, Sheila. And I will just quickly say, I've actually looked at the maps and it's amazing. I'm so excited we could bring this to New Orleans residents, and we can't wait till it's done. I can't wait to unveil that. That's one aspect of this amazing partnership, right? So Sewerage and Water Board is again working with BlueConduit to develop these amazing maps, again with google.org. I think I said .com, so my apologies, it's .org. But additionally, there's another aspect of this, right? So there is the Water Collaborative, there's Civic Studio with Erin Chang here, and also Total Community Action. Ms. Thelma's not with us today, but she is an absolutely amazing partner as well. So why are we doing this aspect of it? We're also working with Sewerage and Water Board on another aspect, which is working on the equity and justice components, and also community engagement and ensuring residents know about this lead service line map. And the opportunities and funding that exists through IJA. People have been concerned about lead in New Orleans for many, many years, right, for decades. And there's always been issues with funding. There's always been issues also with education and the concerns around it. As we know, it's a major public health concern and has a lot of impacts on families, children, in communities. So this is a great partnership where we're actually combining all of our best assets and really thinking through how we are going to engage residents of New Orleans. And we're going to go through a really robust plan with Erin in just a moment. And additionally, really trying to reach out to our most vulnerable communities. As Sheila said, we're looking at the demographic information as well as other data to really understand who's being most impacted and who's set to most benefit from these dollars coming down from the Infrastructure Jobs Act. So we are really excited to also combine this data and really bring this to people. Oh, there's Ms. Thelma. Hi, Ms. Thelma. Thank you for joining. And so I want to quickly maybe pump it to Erin first, since Ms. Thelma just got here. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. And Erin, if you could talk a little bit about what Civic Studio is, as we love them as a partner, and also what you guys have planned for the coming months.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Civic Studio is a multidisciplinary worker cooperative based in Central City, New Orleans, and we work on a range of civic issues through creative engagement processes. For this effort, in regards to lead service lines, the overarching question, as we thought about what an effective community engagement strategy would look like, our overarching question has been, what will it take for a community to feel empowered as part of the decision-making for lead service line replacements? Where does that funding go? What is the strategy? And how do we actually involve a community in that? And so our initial thoughts are, how do we use systems and channels that are already familiar to people? How do we, through this work, even though it'll take place this year, how do we build long-term capacity throughout the community that extends far beyond this program? And then how do we contextualize, just as Sheila said, how do we connect the pipes to the broader range of public health and infrastructure and resilience issues that are connected to lead and the presence of lead in the environment, issues around water and issues around environment. And then how do we lift up a diversity of voices, particularly youth and those most directly affected, in this community engagement work? And then how do we make sure that this community engagement is as much about listening and learning as it is about us sharing out information? And then last of all, we thought that it's really important to serve different modes of learning and engagement. We have so many different people in this community. How do we serve all of them through this process? So there are two basic strategies in the community engagement approach that we've been developing. One is to create a public presence throughout the city that makes it easy for residents, whether they live in New Orleans East or the West Bank or Gentilly, to be able to take part. The second is to build community capacity by enlisting community members in the co-creation of engagement tools, media, art, and solutions, so that when there is a media campaign, letting people know about this program, sharing resources, educational resources, they'll have been co-created with community members and not something that people are seeing for the first time. And so that first strategy, how do we create a public presence? Our current thinking is that we'll organize a series of 3 to 5 open studios that take place. And what we mean by that is each studio will be in partnership with nonprofits, public agencies, and other partners. Each open studio will be a place for people to engage this developing inventory, to engage technical experts in public health from the Sewerage and Water Board and our partner organizations, as well as public representatives. And that at these studios, there will be hands-on activities to learn about lead, to learn about pipes and drinking water, where it comes from, how lead even gets into the water. And there will be hands-on activities for people of all ages. We're also talking to Tyler and Sewerage and Water Board about pairing these with tours of the drinking water plant so that we can really, again, build knowledge and capacity that extends far beyond this project. The second piece, as we talked about earlier, the co-creation of engagement tools, media, art, and solutions at these open studios. Participating members of the public will be joining us in imagining and creating educational tools and media campaigns. They'll be able to pick up water filters and water testing kits, and they'll be able to connect with other public health and environmental resources. Again, none of this exists in a vacuum. It's connected to everything else that we are experiencing in our daily lives. And through that, we'll also involve the participants in mapping out an equitable lead service line replacement process. And through storytelling, through art and design, it means that we'll have people of all ages and different mindsets and perspectives be a part of that. And so the way this will roll out, we are imagining in the months ahead, May, June, July, the kickoff, we'll start conducting initial outreach this month and next month. In the months of June and July and August, we'll be conducting the open studios. The first one will kick off on June 1st. The location is TBD, but look out for an announcement and hope you can join us there. And then after that, in the fall, late summer and fall, will be the media campaigns and art and storytelling events that follow from those open studios. Let me pass it back to Jessica and Ms. Thelma.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. And there's so many great things that we're excited about in this process. I want to reiterate as well that this is a very different process that we've never done, right? You think of infrastructure, you think of it being really top down and really internal. I'm really excited that Sewerage and Water Board is participating and that Gaston Corbin and Tyler Antrup and everybody at his team is really open to a new way of approaching conversations around lead lines, right? It's not the most exciting thing usually, but this is a different way we can approach a topic around public health and water and a different way to engage on it. So I'm going to pass it to Ms. Thelma French. She is the director, again, of Total Community Action, and they'll talk about their role in this amazing partnership. Ms. Thelma.
Good morning, and thank you all for letting us be a partner with this transformational opportunity to educate and lift up all of our citizens around water and the quality of water, as well as lead safety. Most individuals know Total Community Action for one or two things. One, either utility assistance, or two, Head Start program. Well, this opportunity allows us to lift up one of our greater goals as a community action agency, and that is to allow communities where people with low incomes live be healthy and offer economic opportunity. Secondly, this opportunity allows us to engage low-income individuals in active community building and opportunities to enhance their communities. Now, those are the guiding principles around community action out of the original War on Poverty. It is not just service provision, but it is empowerment. And so through our partnership here, we want to begin with empowering our parents of our early Head Start and Head Start children about the importance of safe and affordable and high quality water, and engagement in helping to take part in the design studios with Civic Studio, and working on advocacy and promoting all of those things that empower them to ensure that their communities are health and safe. Also, we want to be able to use our contacts with our residents to empower them about the lead service lines and the removal process. We see on average 3,000 individuals a month in all of our program services. And so if we use the power of our program services to help share this information and empower our community, we think that the longer term inputs or the collective impact will be sustainable in community engagement. So as a CEO and a person that is involved in a lot of different initiatives, I always say if we can't draw it back to our mission, our goal, we shouldn't be engaged. And truly our goal is empowering communities to have a voice in their own sustainability. So we are happy to be a partner in this water collaborative.
Thank
And
you.
back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Thelma. I know we have a little additional time, and I was trying to move the the agenda forward, and I didn't really talk about the Water Collaborative and our role. So I'll just quickly plug that because I want to make sure everybody got their time in first. The Water Collaborative is a local nonprofit 501c3 based here in New Orleans. Obviously, that's in our name. And we help communities live and thrive with water. So we focus on quite a few different things, from climate adaptation and mitigation, such as green infrastructure, but also water justice issues, such as affordability, quality, and accessibility, which is why we're a part of this project. So as the lead for this amazing coalition, we have to get everybody to talk to each other. And it's been a really exciting journey. And so our role is to help connect the local perspective as well as the national perspective, but also ensure, again, that we're advocating for equitable measures and justice-centric measures throughout this entire process, which it hasn't really been hard to do. And so before we have a little extra time, I don't know if Erin, are you able to share any visuals of some of the work that you guys are going to be doing in the next couple of months? Not at this time. Well, does anybody have anything else to share before we open up to Q&A? We wanted to keep it brief, and we do have a press release that we're going to be sending out after this event with more information and details, as well as links to some of the things that we're talking about. I'll leave 30 seconds or less if anybody has anything else to say. And then Total Community Action has a video that they want to show. Sheila, I don't have access to controlling this video. Does anybody have access to controlling the webinar?
Ashley, are you able to get into the settings?
Yeah, you're correct. But while we're doing that, we can take some questions and answers from the audience.
Great. Yeah, there are no questions, but please, if anybody is able to drop some questions into the chat, that'd be great. Or I don't know if I don't believe they, because of the webinar mode, they can't actually unmute. So I'd love for any of our participants, if they're able to put any questions in the chat. We see we have a few attendees. So again, please drop anything into the chat option and we will be able to answer them. So we're just waiting on the video from Total Community Action.
Well, I can ask a question.
Yes.
How are the communities, as community hubs, working with the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans to ensure that the mapping and the inventory is getting done and handled? How is this unique partnership working?
Yeah, I can jump in on that, and I'd love for Holly, who's the lead on this project, to jump in as well if she needs to. So we have been having weekly meetings with both partners, that are all the partners that you see here, and then some. There are some that are not on this call currently. And we're working through that partnership. Again, the first thing is education, right? Making sure we're all having the same level of information about what are our risks, what do residents need to know, as well as how we can use the IJA funding to um, really focus on how they can be supported through the IJA funds, right? Not just in terms of immediately removing the lead line, but again, I think Aaron talked a little bit about it, filters and other ways they can clean their water. Additionally, it's again, I mentioned really focusing on our skill sets, right? Civic Studio is an amazing engagement hub that they do amazing work. We actually worked with them on other projects in the past and currently. And TCA, I mean, Miss Thelma had talked up all the amazing programs that they have. So we're really putting all of our best skill sets together and really giving Sewage and Water Board all the options so that they can make a program that is rooted in procedural and distributional equity, right? And I think that is really the goal about this partnership is having consistent communication between all parties. And that's a different way, again, that we're approaching lead service signs. I don't want to see if anybody else wants to jump in their perspective, Tyler or Ms. Thelma.
Yeah, I'd be happy to just jump in really quickly and say that I think this has been a great partnership for us, initially between BlueConduit and the Sewage and Water Board, just in terms of understanding what our data needs are, what we have, and going through the process of collecting all of the information we have to input into the model. But then again, with the community partners sort of holding our feet to the fire in terms of reporting out our progress and continuing to drive development of programs that will basically come out of this inventory exercise. So yeah, just wanted to recognize that, we're all working together in terms of developing this program going forward.
Great. And actually, Tyler, if you could stay unmuted because there was a question for you all. Nicholas Holmes had asked, in the process of lead pipe removal, how will residents access the water? We've talked a lot about what lead service line removal looks like at Sewage and Water Board. Can you describe what that process has looked like in the past?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. And we are still continuing to develop what a more proactive lead service line replacement program will look like as we continue to develop the inventory. However, at present, we do, of course, replace lead service lines when we encounter them or when we do water main replacements. And typically the interruption to customers is fairly minimal in terms of under an hour or so in water service. And we do notify them ahead of time and afterwards when the replacement's done. So it's not a super long process where they're going to be without water for a long time. It's typically, during a work day and it in a fairly minimal amount of time frame. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think so, Tyler. I see Sheila, it looks like the video is ready. Okay, great. I'd love to take some time out for us to watch this video with total community action. And I'll hand it over to BlueConduit and Ewa.
And you can go ahead and share your screen. Perfect.
I think the sound is not being shared. You might have to make sure you click the share sound button at the top.
Oh, I was born and raised in New Orleans. The water system and the water bills are ridiculous. I had like $500 bills, or $400 bills, $300 bill, and I'm only one person. And I'm on a fixed income. Oh, Lord. I was wondering how I was gonna pay them.
Total Community Action is the city's official anti-poverty agency, and our mission is to reduce poverty in New Orleans by providing opportunities, experiences, and services that help low-income individuals move to self-sufficiency.
Hi, this is Lily Rodriguez at TCA.
On a day-to-day basis, definitely our clientele can experience hardships with the utilities, with jobs. Do they have a job to go to? Do they have a full-time job? Do they have a job that is paying them enough to make ends meet? The Water Help program has been going on since 1994, but the household had to be either elderly or disabled. There were many people that we would have to say, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
We were only able to serve about 1,600 households, and it was a one-time $200 payment every 6 months. What's the average size of a family household bill, maybe for a month in water?
The $200 that we were giving for the seniors and disabled sometimes could only pay a 1 month's bill.
Total Community Action also provides the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, LOWAP. In our community, LIWAP is called LOWAP. But that federal program has provided us with enormous support.
This has allowed me to help so many families. With LIWAP at this moment, we are now able to help a working mom. We can also help an individual who just lost their job. With LIWAP, we are able to help 4 times the amount of households as before. LIWAP took care of a lot of past bills that were just amounting, going higher and higher. If they have a large bill, the arrearages are large, we can bring them to the maximum number, which is the $1,500. Everybody should have the ability to have clean water in their house, clean running water, and not be afraid to lose their service.
Without LIWAP, the city of New Orleans would have a whole lot of disconnected families. There would be many, many families that would not have access to water daily.
I thank God for TCA. They are phenomenal with the water bill. They help. When I say they help you real good.
The assistance of this federal program has kept people out of crisis one step into stability. Not stable, but one step into stability. Hi. Water is a common good. And until we begin to recognize that everyone should have access to clean and affordable water, I think we take that for granted, but everyone does not have access. But water actually is an essence of life like air, and therefore everyone should have access to clean, affordable, and safe water.
That was a great video. Thank you. I'm going to give a little hand clap for that because I hadn't seen it yet. Ms. Thelma, do you want to say any closing remarks about the LIWAP program, or Tyler, because I know it's been a huge success?
I think that why we were chosen is that we were the first and only agency in the state that has expended its total allocation. And that is due to the partnership, that ongoing partnership we've had with Sewerage and Water Board, working with Tyler, but it's only one step in our bigger issue to making sure everyone has clean, affordable, and safe water, and that we can bring water equity to our city. So each of these components all fit together to that ultimate goal of making water a common good in New Orleans. And we are happy to have been selected by OCS, but I think it tells another side of our story and about our community that we have to continuously work on.
Yeah. And Tyler, did you want to say anything about the LIWAP program from the Sewerage and Water Board perspective?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the LIWAP program has really been a godsend in terms of being able to help our customers who had COVID-related arrearages get caught up on their bills. But obviously, the work is not done. There are folks who can't afford their water bills that are not related to COVID. And so we are continuing to advocate as hard as we can at the state and federal level for additional resources and for a permanent extension of the LIWAP program so that we can continue to provide service to our customers who can't afford their water on a daily basis.
Thanks, Tyler. And from my understanding, is the program still open, Ms. Thelma and Tyler? Can people still apply?
No, we have totally expended our allocation. We have advocated to the state for additional funds because there are other communities that have had great challenges in getting their water providers or their water sources to cooperate and participate. And I'd like to thank Tyler for joining me last week in a conversation with my colleagues from around Region 6, where we discussed some of the challenges that programs are having partnering with their water providers and water systems. So there is an anticipation because the federal sunset of LOAP is September 30th, 2023. All expenditures must be made by 12/31/2023, that the state of Louisiana will reallocate additional funds to TCA so that we can continuously help others who did not get assisted in our first allocation, or those who still have arrearages.
Yeah. So for those listening, please stay tuned. Basically, that's what it hears like. Hopefully, we'll get more reallocation from the state. And we're also not directly working with Sewage and Water Board, but we're working with a lot of other partners on also extending the LIWAP program. It has been such a huge godsend for people across the country. As you all, some of you may have heard of the LIHEAP program, right, for heat, which is a longstanding program. But there's never been one for water. And as you know, you can't live without water. And so we're so glad that the current administration, the Biden administration, is considering that, but there's still a lot more work to go. So with that being said, I think it's really important that we talked about LIWAP because it's definitely connected to lead service lines, right? The people who are most vulnerable are always the communities that are needing accessibility to their water, support with their water bills, but also concerned about their water quality. So these programs, both LIWAP and the lead service line abatement program, are amazing because not only are they, for the first time, giving residents an opportunity to hopefully alleviate some of the stressors, right, around lead service line, but also this program that we're talking about is really unique. And again, a way for us to address some of the lead issues across the city of New Orleans in a way that we've never done before. So I want to make sure, I know we're over time a little bit. I want to also open it up into any other partners if you want to say any last words, because I do not see any questions in the Q&A. I'm sure we'll have other questions when we release the press release later on today. Anybody else have any final thoughts they'd like to share? Okay, I want to say again, thank you to google.org. Thank you to our national partners, BlueConduit. We can't wait to see the map. The National Resource Defense Council, and of course, We Act, who's been an amazing partner in helping us connect all of our resources. And of course, again, our on-the-ground partners. You're gonna see our faces. We're gonna be on the ground. You're gonna continue to see us. Again, thank you, Erin Chang from Civic Studio, and of course, thank you, Ms. Selma of Total Connection. And without Tyler Anthrop and Sewage and Water Board, this would not be possible. So thank you to Gaston Corbin, the entire executive team at Sewage and Water Board, and of course, Mary Cantrell, who's the board of directors president. We really appreciate all of the partners who have been a part of this process, and hopefully you'll see more of us in the coming months. Thank you. Oh, I think I see a Q&A, but let me make sure. Oh, it was just a thank you. So thank you for all the participants, and we hopefully will see you all soon.